Those of you who are already here, you kind of want to hear what's going on with these guys, right?
Yeah.
Say yes if you do.
Yes.
All right, can I get a let's go?
Let's go.
Somebody shut the doors at the back for me, please. Somebody shut the doors on the side. Nobody's getting out of this room for the next hour. I know your heads are full, but you better get about 5 to 6 blank pages in front of you right now.
Okay, we'll get out.
My name is Amy Stair. I'm the CEO of Star Power. You've heard that mentioned the last couple of days. Thank you. One person really loves that. RRC and Star Power have been linked in arms for a very long time, and we're really honored to be here. Let me have the panel introduce themselves to you. And guys, what I want you to share, if you would, is what's your market, what's your average sales price, and what's the current market condition, what's happening with inventory right now. If you would do that. And David, I'll start with you.
I'm David Brenton. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Our market has been cold. It's been a cold winter, but it's starting to pick up. Average sales price in our market is just under $300,000.
Rob?
Rob Levy from Portland, Oregon. Not cold, but rainy. But average sales price in the market's about $600,000. Mine's about 200 more than that. And everything that I've listed over the last 6 months that's sat has been selling in the last couple of weeks with multiple offers. It's coming back.
Yay! Sam Miller.
Sam Miller, Knox County, Ohio, about an hour north of Columbus. Small market. Average sale price right now, we jumped a bunch in the last couple of years. We're up around 275.
Oh,
We're
wow.
pretty modest market.
Cleveland.
And market was a little quiet from December to January, but it was weather driven. I mean, it's a cold market. And now that things are getting nicer, it's starting to really pick up nicely.
Fantastic. Mike Parker?
Mike Parker, Northern Kentucky, south side of Cincinnati. Average sales price is between $280 $290. We work urban, suburban, and rural. Bottom 4 counties are rural. We do a lot of farmland.
Wonderful. Eric Sultan.
Eric Sultan, Denver, Colorado. Our average sales price is about $650,000, and our spring market's been strong since January 1st.
Right on. I have a favor to ask before we get started. We promised you 8 must-have strategies. Would it be okay if we give you almost twice that many?
Yes.
Okay. You want more?
Yes.
All right, we're going to do it then. And we're going to move fast, so be patient. I want to start with the 8 Ds that guarantee there's always going to be real estate no matter what market we're talking about. And you'll probably recognize some of these. It was the 5 Ds, but you can't slow these guys down. They elevated it to 8 Ds. So let's go ahead and look at those real quick. What is this? Diamonds. What does that mean? People getting married, right? How about these guys? Diapers. Expanding the family. Who can give me this one? What D is this? Diploma. People graduating. And that's not just, graduate from college and buy their house. Kids graduate from high school. We get empty nesters sometimes who are ready to make a change, right? How about this one?
Dollars.
Debt. Thank you. From the back of the room.
That
Was
was
that you,
better.
Maurice? All right. People get in debt. They have to make a home change. What about this one?
Downsize.
Downsizing. You guys are on your game this
Except for
afternoon.
my dollar.
How about this one? Disability. And then this one. Divorce. And finally, death. Those are our 8 Ds. All 8 of those things are reasons why people might make a change. Now, you don't get into conversations with the internet leads too much about the 8 Ds, do you? No, you don't. You get into the conversation with who? The answer's on the board for anybody's. Can we get a coffee machine in here, stat?
Yes, please.
Your warm list. Who else on your warm list? Sphere of influence, who else? Past clients, who else? Panel.
Orphans, the people that bought your listings.
How many of you are working orphans? Wow, that's less than a third of the room. Do y'all know what an orphan is? I see some places like this. Either your last night's activities are kicking in right now, or you don't know what. An orphan is a person who bought your listing, other agent. You adopt them as if they are already on your warm list, and you treat them just like your past clients. And we're not going to cover that one today, unless we have time, which I seriously doubt based on how much these guys stuffed in this presentation. So let's start here, guys. Generational business, what does that mean to you?
Grandparents.
The panel now. I would like you guys to participate.
Us? What?
You guys.
Yeah. Working with the whole family. So basically people we sold houses to 20, 30 years ago to their kids, their parents as they're downsizing and or going into assisted living or even passing.
And how are you ensuring that you can be in contact with those people? How are you getting that generational business? What's working?
I'll do it. Stay in contact with your past people consistently. One of the things that we're doing, I found really interesting, is a client that bought a house 5 or 6 years ago. We're wanting to get them reconnected with us. We're getting them, asking them where they would move if they had considered to move, and setting them up on automated listing searches. And so even though they're not ready to move, we're prepping them for the market in advance, and you can't believe when they're ready how beneficial that is.
Okay, pause button. And I'm going to do this to you through the entire session. Who wrote that down, and what specifically does Sam just say? Shout it out.
Stay in touch.
Where do they want to? They're not moving, but if they did move, where would they want to move to, and do what with them? Put them on a search. Tracy, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're here.
Amy, one
Mike.
other thing too is your church, your local church. Whether it's a priest, minister, preacher, whatever, you're seeing a lot of generational business coming out of the churches. And they might not all be kids either.
And Mike, so I'm sitting in the audience and I say, well, I don't want to bother the people that I go to church with. I don't want to talk real estate when I'm at church. How do you stay connected to your church people so that they know you're a realtor, Mike?
Say it again, I couldn't hear you. So.
How do you stay connected with the people that are in your church that is
Well,
not salesy?
I advertise on the back of the bulletin. Most of the, not all the church, but a lot of the church members are in my sphere of influence and past clients. I have a 33 touch. I use Pat Zaney's Zen Touch for about 20 touches there. And they get invited to 6 client events a year. And then we'll do 1 to 2 phone calls and try to do a pop-by sometime in the year.
I told you it was going to come out too fast. You guys prepared for this? We're
Yeah.
recording this, right?
The other thing is you cannot go anywhere when people know you're in real estate without asking you, how's the market? So even if you're coming out of church, whatever, if they know you're in real estate because you're on your list, they're in your marketing, they're in your area, they're going to ask you, how's the market? So you always want to have that 15-second answer to that question, because you're the trusted expert and you just want to always be prepared.
Absolutely. All right, seniors and boomers, since we're talking generational business. Rob.
So I've been in real estate 35 years, and I just turned 66 years old. I realize I look like I'm 49, thank you. But that's turned into a massive part of my business simply by default. And if I think about how it all happened, and I'm sure as a lot of the younger crowd in here will see the same thing, when I got into business I was 30. So I was selling houses to my kids, friends, parents from T-ball games and all that sort of stuff. And now, fast forward, I'm selling houses to my age group as they're downsizing, or sometimes even upsizing when grandkids come along. That's what we're doing right now. But also their parents are passing away, their parents are going into independent living or something like that. And so that's a really interesting business. It's lucrative. And where I think that's going to affect things in the future, I was actually watching the news last night lying in bed, and they were talking about how millennials over the next 20 years are going to become the wealthiest people ever in the American history, because they're all inheriting houses and assets that we all have as we pass along.
Because they're spoiled.
That too.
No, I'm just kidding. My kids are getting nothing, by the way. I'm spending it all before I go. Sam.
So one thing I would recommend, write this down, is take a tour of all the assisted living facilities in your community. Meet the management. You will not believe what that will do in the long run, because nobody's doing it, and once you connect with them, you're their referral source.
You didn't say put on a seminar, Sam. You said take a tour. Why is that beneficial?
Well, actually meeting the people that the client is going to meet or their family is going to meet when they're shopping different assisted living facilities. They almost always have houses, and it's big, it's overwhelming to them at that point. So when they kick your name out and say, hey, if I was you, I'd give Sam Miller a call, bingo, you are in the door.
So you're focusing on the R word, which is relationship. Have you all heard that about 100 times by this point in the
And you want to add those people that work in those facilities to your mailing list and keep in front of them, just like you do your past clients in your personal sphere, because people coming to see them, 90% of them have houses to sell, and you want to be top of mind.
And you're giving me a pie if I'm on your list, right, David?
Hey, Amy.
Exactly.
Here's
Yes, Mike.
this is one step before that. How many people in here are Medicare? Okay? I turned 65 October 23rd, and I didn't know I needed to have a card, okay? So I went to the Medicare. We just fell into this. This guy's the largest Medicare provider in the Midwest, in insurance agency. What I have found in every major city, there is one Medicare insurance company who dominates, okay? This guy has a class every week. He feeds them, and he talks and walks them through the Medicare system, and he does it 40 weeks a year, okay? And then we did a special event at Turfway Racing, where we had 500 seniors pay $10 come in. They got fed, they got had drinks for them, and we had about 8 or 9 companies there where they could walk through and talk to us, okay? And we gave away something called Vial for Life. It's a little vial.
Vial, for those of you who don't speak Kentucky, V-I-A-L, V-I-A-L, vial.
There was 520 people at this event. We gave out 480. And what it is inside, there's a little paper inside the vial, and you write the medicines, and then you put the magnet in front of the refrigerator. Our local Pepsi company provided them free. I'm not saying Pepsi will do it worldwide, but I'm just saying we got them. They're about $3 each if you have to buy them right there. But look around who is the dominant Medicare insurance company, and sit down and talk to them, because the seniors have the houses you want to list.
Yep.
Why do we like senior listings? Well, yes, they have equity. Turnover. They don't typically need to buy a house. Y'all are having people who won't sell because they can't find something to buy, right? Say yes if you are. Okay, so seniors typically already have a plan, right? They're going into assisted living, like Sam said, or they already own an investment property that they're downsizing into, or they're moving in with families. So great opportunity. Eric, you've been patient.
In our business last year, one of the things that got us through a kind of difficult year was boomers and diapers. So we work with a lot of first-time home buyers and people in our age group in their 40s and 50s, but those kids were having kids and their parents wanted to move in close to them, and some of the few people that could afford to buy homes without making quick sales in relation to those purchases were seniors and boomers who wanted to be closer to their grandkids.
Absolutely. David and then Sam.
The other thing we did was we targeted the 55 and older communities in our area. We sent them, twice a year, we send them an update on the market with a calendar once a year, because when the kids come in to get involved in finding mom and dad a house, and you're on the refrigerator, your mom and dad's realtor. So make that presence known, because the kids are going to drive the train a lot of times.
Who were in here last session on AI? You went from talking about a virtual likeness of yourself to refrigerator magnets. The stuff works, guys. Sam?
Trust attorneys, become their best friends. It's an opportunity that you cannot imagine. It may not happen, right away, but what happens is you get connected with that trust attorney. They're meeting with people, setting up trust. They're talking about the future, what they're going to do with the home, who they want to use. It's great to get written into those trusts. And the same thing with all of their wills. I just was made the executor of an estate for someone where the wife didn't get made the executor. I ended up being the executor because they thought it'd be too overwhelming for the wife to deal with it when the husband passed, and I had done business with him. I was the executor. I got to sell the house, all the assets, and work with her. It was unbelievable.
What a service.
Add the word estate to that. I think that's what he was talking about.
Yes.
Not just trust, but estate. There's trust attorneys.
We'll get to probate in a bit, but we're talking about the people that are still alive.
So I can add on that one. So a couple of reading materials you guys should look up is The Silver Tsunami and The Graying of America. And if you read up on those, what it's basically saying, if you think about it, the youngest baby boomers are turning 60 this year, and the oldest ones are 76, but only 1/3 have retired. At the very same time, all of our parents are living longer than they normally did, or were designed to be, let's say, but back when they were born, and now they're starting to pass quite a bit. And so it's the largest transfer of wealth in the world's history going on right now in the United States. And guess who's inheriting it? It's people that are just about to retire, and they're selling their houses and buying vacation homes, and that's why markets in Florida and Southern California and Hawaii, places like that, are really starting to blow up. The silver tsunami and the graying of America. Graying of America.
Graying. As in Rob's hair.
Only partially.
Only partially. Look at the beautiful hair on that guy.
Order some dye on Amazon right now.
Probate attorneys, let's talk about that now. Eric.
I love working with probate attorneys. I find that in my market, I can pick up the phone and just call probate attorneys, ask them to lunch. I have information for them. They're generally happy to hear from me, as opposed to any other kind of cold call. I can pick up the phone, call probate attorneys. I've got an 8-touch plan for getting them used to me and figuring out that I'm a professional in the industry.
Quick question.
I'm just wondering, what do you give them? You said you give them things. Is it names of people? What is it that you give them?
What's the touch campaign look like?
So it's 2 postcards,
That's correct.
3 emails, 2 phone calls, and a book. So as soon as I get in touch with one of them, I give them a book, and it's mostly marketing materials.
Please tell them the
just
book.
Go out.
We'll give Shane a shout out.
So the book is like a 20-page book that tells all about my team, how we differentiate ourselves in the market, and then we have an additional book that comes from Shane Phillips that can help their clients through the probate process.
I believe that's called First Steps.
It's called First Steps, and his website's First Steps as well. And that's been amazing to a lot of my clients, my family, and I've used that to get through the probate process with people in my family.
And people can go to your website and see how you've put that up on your website too, right? Is it public facing or only private link?
Yeah, it's at sultannewmangroup.com/probate, I think. But I'll get you the information, Amy, just so
Okay.
you've got it directly.
This is just not probate, okay? This is CPAs, all the attorneys, divorce, estate, trust, whatever, and all these people here. Give them a couple monthly market reviews of what the market is doing. Show them you're a professional in your business in real estate before you make that first call. Because if you make that first call and ask for business, it doesn't look good. If you're trying to educate them and give them information, like Eddie, see, he had an 8-step program. That's a pearl. I mean, he's got it set up and they're going like that.
Sam.
So one thing that's helpful is if you're willing to do a valuation of the property at the time of the passing, because there's the 1-year window where, if they sell it within that 1 year, that's the value. Afterwards, if they didn't sell it in that first year, they need something in the file to establish what it was worth at the time of passing. So I'm getting called all the time to do those, and I never charge for it. It's just an opportunity for me to get in the house, do some follow-up, and you end up getting listings by default afterwards because they remember you were already in the house.
And then do you drop them in your CRM at like 10 months to automatically send a new?
Yes.
Of course you do. All right.
The other thing you do is you show them value when you ask. If you can be a one-stop shop and show the attorney how you can help them get this process done and help the seller get rid of the things in the house and make that process serve it all, be the one-stop shop for the people that have passed away. Their family.
Absolutely. Eric.
Just to expand beyond the probate attorneys as well, there's probably different types of bereavement services that different groups offer within all your communities, from churches and synagogues or from funeral homes. They might offer different kinds of bereavement services to help people who've just lost a loved one get through that. And those people are great to know because they might need your help to help the people that come to them.
And maybe also too, if people want to learn more about probate, Buddy West has got the probate class. It's through CRS.
Buddy, can you stand up real quick? Anyone who hasn't met or doesn't know Buddy.
Yeah, and I've taken this class twice, once in Kentucky and once in Tennessee. And he fits the class around what state you're in, but he'll cover the surrounding states too. And you know, there's a lot of little things in there you gotta know, because if you screw it up, you screwed it up for that family.
David.
A plug for Buddy's class. If you're going to Star Power in July in Nashville, Tennessee, Buddy's hosting a pre-conference class on probate. You can get it all done without additional cost to travel.
Thanks for that, David. Yeah, we'll be getting it up on the website. Oh, and Buddy's, if you're already coming to conference, he's going to give you $100 off.
There you go.
All right. We talked about divorce. Anything additional you guys want to share, Rob?
Well, I think it's the greatest thing ever to happen to real estate.
The views of Rob Levy are not endorsed by RRC, nor are they endorsed by Star
I mean,
Power.
it's
Are
basically.
you talking about the trifecta, Rob?
It's a trifecta, yeah. So, yeah, one listing, two buyers if you play your cards right. But the interesting thing about divorce right now, in talking about what we were just talking about, is I was just reading that as baby boomers are starting to retire, 37% of married couples between 65 and 73 are getting divorced. So it's people that aren't used to living together, they're now living together. So I think this is going to become a bigger thing for us than it has been in the last several years, especially as the economy gets better and people have been sitting in houses for 2 years and not selling them. So I think we're going to see significantly more of this.
I think COVID made people realize they don't like each other.
Yep, that is part of what happened in COVID, Eric.
My phone has been ringing off the hook with people who are getting divorced. I don't know if we're laughing a lot, but I
It's an
don't know if this
unfortunate
is happening
reality.
in your world. This is happening with me once every 4 weeks. I'm getting a call from somebody else who's a client or a friend who's dealing with a divorce, and then we got to figure out where exactly we sit with these, because I'm helping people through a lot of emotional conversations. But then in addition to that, it's that warm list. I mean, the warm list can be a lot of things. The warm list is people that are in your database. It's ex-clients, or it's people who've worked with you before who are clients forever. But to me, what the warm list is, if I hear that somebody's getting a divorce, I'm going to be in touch with them. I'm gonna take them out to lunch because they probably need to bend my ear about something. But I put my real estate hat on as well. That's somebody who's on the top of a rotating list of people. And that rotating list of people who I'm contacting more regularly than everybody else happens to be people who've said, man, I can't believe it, I'm getting a divorce.
I'm also going to recommend that you have someone in your local market that you have a good business relationship with that you can refer to should that couple decide there ain't no way Eric's representing both of us. We need our own private representation. Get the referral at least. Help them get another trusted colleague in your market.
Eric, did those
David.
calls pick up after you put your picture on Tinder? Is that what happened?
The other thing about
It's not Tinder.
The other thing about divorce is, just like death, they need to know the market value as they start to split assets. So you can reach out and help them in that way.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Amy, he had a little pearl there that got skipped over. Okay, as you get more business, I've been doing business 37 years. We've all here been doing business a little bit younger, except for our young one here. But he's reaching out to people. As you get more busy and more things, you wait on people to reach out to you. And that is where the business has to change. I don't care if you're a major top producer in the city or whatever it is, you've got to reach out to your people.
Oh, you opened a door to the soapbox I love to stand on all day long, Mike.
That's the major thing, is picking up that phone or stopping by, or if you know they hang out at such and such a gym, stop by, make it casual or whatever, but you gotta reach out yourself. The old days of them just calling are not there as much.
Sam.
So in the divorce situation, one thing that comes up that you don't think about as an agent is they weren't planning on getting divorced. The house wasn't really ready to put on the market, and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose in their house. and they need your help. So having, the people, your back end people to help you get that house ready. I've got cases where people don't have the money. I mean, they don't even have the money to pay their attorneys to get divorced. They sure don't have the money to put in the house and fix it up and resell it. And so there are times, if you have the ability, if you can be that person to front that money and get reimbursed back at closing, it seals the deal on that listing immediately, because there's nobody in your market going to do it. Nobody. You're the one, and that's going to make you rise up.
All right, let's talk first-time home buyers. It's harder now. That's what I keep hearing. What is so much harder for them now? Interest rates are higher, property values are higher. Why do I want to chase first-time home buyers?
First-time homebuyers buy area are hot. They're buying. I mean, it's not I'm a low price range. 280s are 280, 285 our average sales price. I was at the bar the other night, Barley Courts, a sports bar. A couple walked up. She says, "Our daughter's getting married. I want to choose her a house just like we started in." I said, "I could do that, but you were $150, and it's $275 now for that 3-bedroom, 2-car garage. Buy them." And from that nature, but we're showing buyers how, making sure that they do not, I repeat, do not do a buy down. Because in 18 to 36 months, you're going to turn around and refinance. A buy down is $10,000 wasted. And I've been preaching that in my marketplace, because we got a lot of agents saying to do that. We got a lot of first-time home buyers who they got married late in life, they make a higher income, and they're buying 400s. When they get in that 350 bracket, I can get them into new construction.
I would say the other thing, how many of you remember when you bought your first home? Show of hands. Very good.
11.5.
Was your first question what the interest rate was? No. But you didn't even ask. That's my point. First-time home buyers are wanting to have the American dream. They're wanting to get in that first property. My first interest rate was over 8%. Anybody else? I heard 18. Did it get in the way of you buying the house? No. So quit being the problem. You guys make your own problems sometimes. All right, back to you guys. David?
Buyers, especially first-time buyers, focus on 2 things: how much down and how much a month. Yes. What's Andrew?
And how much are the utilities?
And how much are the utilities? So be knowledgeable, provide that information. I got a referral on Monday from a North Carolina agent that said, "My best friend's kids are graduating from Purdue. They need to buy a house. And can you take care of mom and dad are going to front the money, buy it. They're going to mortgage it in 12 months and pay mom and dad back." That was Monday. We pinned it 2 hours ago. So they're out there. The opportunities, first-time buyers are there, and you never know what the circumstances are, but don't overlook them. They're a great opportunity.
I think it's much tougher though in some markets. You guys all, except for Eric and I, are kind of similar prices, and you guys are much lower. I know in Portland, to get the median priced home, your income's got to be $169,000 a year, and that's a lot of money. It takes a couple for one thing, and so they're kind of missing out on this right now. The only ones that we're seeing buying first-time homes are getting parental help, or somebody's dying.
And that's,
Or
parents are in a
first-time
better
buyers
position to
older.
do that.
Yeah, or older.
Here's a question to the group here. How many people work a rural area, meaning country?
And that
Okay.
translation, rural.
Okay, all right. Here's something to think about, okay? As we do a lot of this is manufactured housing, a double wide, put it on 1 to 2 acres with city water and sewer, things like that. That baby sells for $250, okay? That's the same thing as a buy level. So, in my goals this year, I got goals of selling 18 double wides right there. And sometimes they're new, sometimes they're pre-existing. And that's the market that nobody else wants to work because it's a pain in the ass. Because you got to do certain things. Become an expert in that. And that's an easy 12 units.
Eric?
On those first-time home buyers, if you can help them out with an assumable VA or assumable FHA or assumable USDA, are those assumable? The FHAs and the VAs assumable as long as they have enough time to get through the process, maybe 120, 140 days. If they have enough time to get through that process, that can really help get somebody into a much higher end home without quite as much monthly.
He brings a good point. And don't let the bank tell you it's not assumable. because they don't want it to be a system. Okay? And,
They gotta work harder. All right,
Question in the front row.
Are any of you all trying, and if you are, having any success, talking with would-be first-time home buyers about buying a small multi and owner occupying a unit? Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's a partial solution that not enough people are exploring.
and
Yeah,
if you are, would you talk to my oldest son, because I've been trying to talk to him. Well,
FHA
listen.
just made a big change. You could do minimum down payment on a 1 to 4 unit. Okay, that's huge. Problem is usually they don't qualify for the sale price because a 2-family in my marketplace is 300 plus. Okay, and it's just if you give it the mindset, because I always tell them, whatever you buy your first home, keep it, don't sell it. From that nature there, but it's just getting in the mindset. But that FHA is a big deal because if they live in a unit, they can buy for 3.5% down.
And they can have that, like Mike said, they keep it, and it becomes a 2-income producing property for the future.
Eric.
Unfortunately, in some of our markets, the Airbnb market has made it so that multifamilies are significantly more expensive than single families. And so it's tough for first-time home buyers in my market, and I'm guessing in Rob's market as well, to get multi.
Sam?
So one of the things about first-time buyers that we don't think about is, as soon as you sell a first-time buyer a home, their friends go to their new home, and the friends are like, oh my gosh, we can't believe you bought a house, and now they want to buy a house, and the trickle effect of more transactions follows immediately.
Okay.
So shoot for those referrals while you're under contract, while you're working with them, because the referrals drop off after they've moved in precipitously.
Okay, we're a little over halfway there. I want to hear one thing you've written down that you're going to take action on by the time we hit Friday of next week. One thing. Who wrote something down? We're not here to just listen. We're here to do something with the information. Yes. Medicare, the Medicare idea, great. All right, old listing appointments and CMAs.
All right, whether you've done 3 CMAs or hundreds of CMAs, we've got every CMA we've done since 2013 in a file cabinet. It's our opportunity file cabinet. They stay in that cabinet until they've sold that property and closed. We follow up on them every 6 months. Say, we did a CMA for you in 2013. I sent you a market update last year. What's the situation? Are you still thinking about selling? And until they sell and close that with us or somebody else, they stay in that drawer and they're top of mind because they raised their hand and said, I'm thinking about selling. It didn't work out, but if you were trying to sell in 2013 or 14, 9 years later, you've got a lot more equity than you had before.
Absolutely. Rob?
My file cabinet is Cloud CMA because it records every single CMA that you've ever done, and I just sometimes just start at the bottom and work up. But when somebody doesn't list with me, I still put them on my mailing system, so they're getting a drip mail about once every 6 weeks. They're getting my e-newsletter. I put them in the Home Beat, which is the automated Cloud CMA, and they're getting my calendars and all my other stuff. So I'm all over them, and regardless. So when I call, at that point, it's a warm call, and that's the difference. I'm no longer just a realtor trying to list their house. I'm this guy that's been sending them all this stuff.
So you said you're using HomeBeat. How many of you are using HomeBeat, HomeBot, or something else? Oh, wow. I expected way more hands. I'm surprised.
Judy Crockett.
Some sort of tool that sends them a monthly update on the value of their property. Difference between HomeBot and HomeBeat. HomeBot shows you a price. HomeBeat shows you the comps. And then you have the choice of whether you want to go forward and learn more.
Maybe Judy
okay?
Crockett gave earlier today, High Fellow. The website is HIFELLO.com. Okay, I spent about $550 a month with that. In 6 months, I've got over 1,000 sellers on a drip that came from that. They email your whole database. That's all I'm going to say about it right there. This is where Zillow becomes your best friend. Now listen how about this. You pull up.
Did you feel the energy in the room, Mike, when you said that?
You pull up Zillow, you pull up their house on Zillow, you take your iPhone or whatever you're using and take a picture of the house and the Zestimate. and you text it to them, and you say this is what Zillow has for your house. I think differently. What do you think? And me tell you, that will start the conversations.
He's not telling them what he thinks it's worth. He's not saying higher or lower. He just said the word different. Hi Fellow, H-I-F-E-L-L-O. The company's called Fellow, but that domain was already taken, so they tacked a hi on the front of it. Hi Fellow, F-E-L-L-O.com. We can talk, anybody wants to talk about Fellow afterwards, I know a little but not a lot, come see Mike when we're done. Is that okay with you guys?
So one thing you can do, and a lot of you may not know this, is on Facebook you can build out groups. You can build out your list of all those appointments that you've been on in the past with their email addresses, and you can target market to those people on Facebook. They have no idea why your stuff is magically showing up every time they go on Facebook, and bingo, you're in front of them, and it's not really that expensive.
It is a lot pricier than you think. The last time I did it was like $1.34.
I paid like $1.
Yeah.
Well, you know, in Rob's world, it went over $1, so. David. You can do targeted Facebook advertising, uploading lists. So you can say, I want all these people whose email addresses I already have to receive this type of advertising from me. And it will start showing up in their feed when they're on Facebook. Rick?
Has to be 1,000.
Yes or no? Does it have to be 1,000? Yes or no?
I didn't have 1,000, so there may be a new rule, but I didn't have 1,000 when I did it.
Yeah, the negative is you're paying a lot more money for it. The positive is you're not wasting your time just shotgunning everybody. The only people that see it are the people that do have their email address for.
Absolutely.
And the best part is you can create whatever page or whatever image you want is specific to that group. It's not something that's going to rain on all the other people that are going to see it, because no one else is seeing it except those people on that email address.
Right.
David,
I had like 600.
yeah,
Mike
here's-
and then David.
On Facebook, just remember when you start using it like this, these are great ideas, we do them, but you gotta check Facebook Messenger because they will start messaging you.
Yeah, that's what I-
And I know people who have lost listings because they check it once a week. You know, it's something you check a couple of times a day.
David?
The other thing you can do along the line Sam was talking about is you can use a source like Cole or one of the information sources, and when you run a Facebook ad for real estate, you got a 15-mile radius that you get, you got to broadcast the whole area. So you got a new listing on the south side of Indianapolis, 15 miles takes you to the north end of Indianapolis. They don't care that you listed one there. But if you take the time and go into Cole or one of the information sources and say, I want to download all the people that live in 46237 onto a spreadsheet, clean it up, send it, and make that your marketing list when you list something in 237. Now, we've got like 8,000 in that area. Maybe we got email addresses on 4,000, and that's the email address they use on Facebook, maybe 1,500 or 1,800 of them. But when I'm running a just listed ad, there's 1,800 people I know that live in the immediate area. That 15-mile radius, I'm overriding it because I've got the list.
Are you getting your value out of spending this hour with us today? All right. Expired listings. I hear this all the time, panel. I don't want to talk to any expired listings now, because if they're expired now, they're unrealistic about their price. Why would you do expireds, Mike?
I don't work local. I don't work the new ones right now. I worked the ones 5, 7, 10 years ago. I pay a VA to see if they have sold since then, and those, nobody works them. I like to work where nobody else does. Okay? It's a little bit harder. You got a little bit extra. I got 2 great girls staff. I got a great VA. But it was like that, you could pick it up, because if they bought a foreclosure back in 8 or 9, they tried to sell it 13 or 14, they didn't sell it. They got great equity. I mean, they're ready. I mean, they're great sellers, and they're going to probably buy something 1.5 times whatever their price is.
So what are you doing? How are you getting those expired?
Well, you just go into, just say, we go into K11, the Union area. I do 4-bedroom, 2 stories with a 2-car garage, and I'll pull all the expired for, say, 2012 year. I'll give that to our VA, and she'll go into the history of each one, and that will tell if they have sold since then. And it's usually about 40 to 45% have not sold. You mean everybody
40 to 45%, you guys, not 10%.
Yeah, it's not
Mike,
everybody
what am I
there.
getting? If I'm that expired, what happens? Are you calling me? Are you mailing me? Or what are you doing?
Well, we first do a home equity review, is we pull a CMA 1 line of the street they live on, and then historically, if they're in a union area as I was talking about, that's suburbs. So it's going to be a neighborhood. I'm going to pull the neighborhood solds for probably for the last 2 years, okay? Then third thing is I go on Facebook and I look them up. Do I have somebody who's a mutual friend? You know, like that. So if they have a mutual friend, say Sam was a mutual friend. I just call Sam and talk to him to see how it's going. Hey, by the way, do you know XYZ?
Yep.
Yeah, I know him. I learn a little bit more about them. But we just put them on a drip like that. Also, we try through a postcard system, through a QR code, use the fellow, because if they fill that out, I get name, address, phone, email, the whole shebang. So, you know, you can use that QR code with fellow like that. And, you know, it's just working.
Anybody else working expireds? David? Sam?
You can do the same thing. I mean, in our market, we had, in the period of time, we had a reasonable number of expireds. Like Mike's saying, 30, 40, 50% of them didn't sell. They raised their hand once and said, we want to sell. But if they were for sale in 2018, in our market, 40-some% appreciation since then, now maybe their price is real. So if they get, you know, you call and say, hey, you were trying to sell your house for $325, if I could get you $335 or $345, would you be interested? And it gives you an opportunity to make them aware of the new price.
Wonderful. Sam and then Eric.
So one of the things where you'll find a real golden nugget is from 2007 to 2012. If you pull the expires from 2007 to 12, that's the short sale market. That was the foreclosure market. Tons of people had their homes for sale, didn't have enough equity, couldn't get rid of them. Now the market's totally changed. They got, like David just said, tons of equity in the house. That is a great list to follow up on. In our market, there were less than half of them had ever sold. So we still had half of those houses. The same owner that had them was still living there. So that was a great list.
Great. Eric?
You know, a lot of those expireds have become rentals, and that's why they haven't sold yet. In a lot of our markets, being a landlord has become more difficult. There's a lot of legislation that's come up, especially in my market and a lot of other very blue markets. There's a lot of anti-landlord legislation. If you happen to be in one of those markets and you're looking at these expireds and saying, hey, expireds has been tough because you have these happy landlords who own the property. Some of those landlords aren't going to be as happy as they were just a few years ago. And you can also gently nudge them and remind them of legislation that's coming down the pike in your area that might be harmful to them as landlords.
So let's jump to that and we'll go back. Don't freak out. I passed over 2 slides. I know. I'll go back. Rob, speak to this mailing that you do.
Well, it's funny you pull that up because that's an old one. So 24 plus years, I've been 35 years. So the only math I can do is 6%. What's that, 11 years?
11 years.
Yeah.
But you said you like this one better than the one you're using now, so I use this one instead.
But that one is the first one I ever did, and it's the best one I've ever done. I've done multiple variations of it since, and no one's ever worked as well as that one. So basically what I did is...
So why'd you quit doing it, Rob?
I still do it. I'm always trying different stuff, and I've never beaten the numbers of that one. So what I did was I deal with a lot of investors. It's always been a large part of my business. I own a lot of rental houses, so I like it and enjoy it, and I'm good at it. And what I did is I went to the title company and I said, and the first time I did this with that card, I said, get me everybody that lives in Los Angeles, Ventura, Riverside County, so the LA Basin, that owns a property 4 units or less in Portland, Oregon metropolitan area that lives in LA. And so I wasn't looking for commercial stuff or anything like that. I was looking for houses and plexes where they live down there. And I remember the number, it was 3,400 people. And so I mailed 3,400 cards. And think about what that says. Email me, keyword there, email me for a free current photo of your property. I got 700 emails. I had to hire a kid to go out and take pictures. But then what did I have? I had their email address. So now automated CMAs they're getting. The first time I did it, I listed 7 properties, and it's just ballooned since to where 38% of my business is investors now. And I continue to do it. Like I say, I've tried different methods, different pictures, and none of them have worked as well as that one.
How much did you pay the kid?
How
No,
much did
Rob,
you
not
pay?
much.
Room and board, it was one of mine.
Anything else on investors you guys want to touch on? Sam?
Yeah, Rob said something, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, and that is that you can get the list of the multifamily properties from your county, your title company you work with. Your county actually, for a small fee, will give them to you in Excel format, and then you can do your own marketing to them. And that is huge, because most people aren't going after them, they're going after the traditional single-family homes.
Absolutely, Mike.
Rick Wright gave me this, gosh, Rick, I think it was a decade ago, and he went out on a listing, and he pulled up all that gentleman's name, all the properties he owned in Texas in that county. Okay, so he went in, and the guy was talking about listing this one. He said, "What are you going to do about the other 7?" And he got all 7 of those listings. That taught me a valuable assessment. So when you go out, before you go out to see people, pull up the tax and DBA there and see how many other properties they own. If they're a worn-out investor, I sold, it was pre-COVID, it was 38 units for a guy. And they were separate houses. They were not 2-family, 2 doors, 4 doors. They were all single families. And that was just by knowing what he had. So do your
And that was
research.
before COVID. They're even more tired now. All right, let's back up. Builders. Talk to me about builders. 3 different ways that we're getting business from builders.
Builders will become your best friend in the next 3 to 5 years because they are paying X commission. I'm not going to say a number, but they're going to pay X. A lot of MLSs now allow it where you can be paid 0 as a buyer broker or that nature. Your builders right there, we got 2 major out of the top 25 in my marketplace. Their headquarters there. And I've been out to lunch with them. They said, we're going to stay at X. And you'll start seeing agents taking their buyers straight to a builder before they show pre-existing, okay? If you can get a builder, especially in the rural area, call me and I'll give you a system on how to set up. In 2005, I sold 27 houses, double dipped at $300,000 plus by using this system right there. We're $1 million short of new construction. And there's a real big push from the government to get that number down. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But if you got land in your marketplace, you're going to see some great opportunities.
So talk to me about, David, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say right now, the interest rates on existing homes, somewhere between 6 and 7%. The major builders in our market are buying the rate down. They're not going to make a difference in the price if you use their financing, or if you don't use that buy down. So they're advertising 4.99, 5.25. It buys a lot more house. And who would rather have brand new than existing if the payment's going to be the same?
It's a good point. What about finding them land to develop or build on? Rob, you've talked about tear downs.
Yeah, so that I've been doing. So I don't work with any of the newer builders, starter homes, anything like that. It's just not a market that I do, and it's kind of outside of my market. I'm more urban, close in Portland. But what I do is there's a couple of builders I work with where I'll use the MLS and RPR and search for people that have lived in homes a long time in areas where they're knocking them down and building fancy homes. And I'll go and list that property and then sell it to a builder without a commission. And then I get paid 2% when he sells the house. So like the last one I did, I sold a lot for $800,000. He plowed the house down. And you gotta have patience, because a year and a half later, sold $2.5 million houses that I got 2% on. So that's a really good way of doing it. It's the money. You just gotta have some patience, and there's a lot of work that you don't get paid on right up front.
Anything else on builders? What about marketing the unbuilt specs? David, did you want to speak to that, or somebody?
A lot of the big builders are running their own sales staff, and they're listing them in-house. But when you can get an opportunity to get face-to-face with them, you can show them the benefit of, this is what you're getting for X, and this is what we can give you for Y, better exposure and different things. And in 2006, I think I sold 90 spec homes for builders in our city, and then things have changed some since then. But there's a great opportunity, because when the calls come to you, they're already looking for new construction, and you can make a phone call and register that prospect with the builder and turn it into a fairly easy commission.
Eric?
You know, I don't know if it was David or Rob who had mentioned that they had gotten some listings in the past by looking to builders who had gotten very thin on their inventory. Because you want to expand on that? 'Cause that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I haven't done this for quite a while, but some of the bigger builders that have, let's say they're doing 70 houses and there's 6 left, they don't want to keep a sales staff on. So in a few cases, I would say, hey, I'll handle all of that for you, so you can move your trailer and the sales office to another property.
Great.
I haven't done it in a while though.
Manufactured homes. Mike, you hit on the double wides. What else would you say about manufactured homes?
The manufactured homes, their average sales price is $250, $270. I take a raw piece of land, say it's a 2-acre lot, it's out in the country, it's got city water, it's on septic. I'll go to the new home manufactured there and say get a 15 by 70. It's priced at about $85,000. It's going to cost me $60 to put it down. It's $140. By the time we get everything in, we'll have about $200,000. I'll probably put that on the market in a multiple listing service as $225. It's marked new construction. It's marked. It is not there yet. I set all the showings on it myself. I say it's not built there. They can go see the unit at XYZ Mobile Home Park or whatever like that. And it's thinking outside the box a little bit. A lot of people don't like that, but I make a lot of sales doing it.
Do you require a separate license for manufactured homes in your guys' states?
We can if it's land, if they're on land. If they're not on land, we cannot.
Know what your state laws are. Quick question here.
In our state, it has to be converted to property for us to be able to.
That's what it is. Talking about
See
land.
that.
It's a land. You take it to the courthouse and they change it over.
Okay, let's talk about Eric, agent to agent referrals. How is that a source of business for you? What are you doing?
That's why we're here. And
Yeah, and let's get real. How many of you go home and have in place a sustained follow-up campaign to stay in touch with the people you met here? Show of hands. Not as many as I expected to see. So Eric, what do you do? How do you follow up?
so right now I'm using my regular, my drip campaign, the same drip campaign that I use for my clients to keep in touch with other agents around the country. I also have a separate tag in my CRM that's just for CRS and Star Power agents. So those are people that I'm gonna reach out to quarterly and just make sure that I keep in touch with them. And then when I travel around the country, every time I go to a city where I might know a real estate agent, I'm gonna go and visit that real estate agent. And if I don't know any real estate agents, then I'm definitely gonna go and visit that agent.
David, I know you have a whole separate campaign for those agents.
We do. We include them in our monthly e-newsletter and that, but we've got a targeted campaign that we're going to reach out 3 times a year and try to make connection with people we meet at CRS, Star Power. I know we all have a lot of educational opportunities available to us. I personally choose 2 to be involved in, CRS and Star Power, and a lot of people overlap between the 2, but we try to stay in front of them. Right now, I've got 5 incoming referrals that are pending that came in over the last 30, 45 days. So if you need an agent in Indianapolis.
I think the key though, Amy, is I think we often think about referrals as one-to-one, and that's not the case. So let's say that I become friends with Eric and I go back to my office, and my office has got about 300 people, and I see an inter-office email that says, hey, who do you know in Denver? I'm like, oh God, you got to talk to Eric. So Eric's not just going to get business from me. He's going to get business from 299 other people in my office.
Tell about Ira.
And yeah, Ira Serkis, great example. So several of you guys know Ira. He's not here this year. He's in Berkeley. In the last 2 years, I've done 7 referrals with Ira. And the thing about Ira is he sells a doghouse for $1.5 million. It really works.
Mike?
I do it a little bit different. I call it the circle of fire. So if you look in your main city, I'm going to use Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati as one, okay? So I got Cincinnati, Louisville, Lexington. That's a triangle, one triangle. The other triangle is Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Louisville. That's another triangle. Figure out what corporate relocation comes into my marketplace? Okay, if I get a referral from Timbuktu, fantastic, I appreciate it, we'll work it, we'll get you paid. But I focus on the cities and people where the majority of the referrals are going to come from. Like Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago, it's corporate, okay? Down in my rural areas, I've got North American Stainless, the largest stainless steel plant in the world. I got Nucor Steel, their second largest plant. They're building 2 more. Where are their other plants to work at like that? And if you work a rural area and you've got a major company in there, get into that HR, because most likely they're not set up for relocation. And if you haven't heard, relocation fees are going to 47 to 49%. So, you work your agent referral where it's 25 or whatever you charge.
How many of you know where your feeder markets are from other states? Something to add to your list to look up. Good for you, those of you who figured it out. Anyway, Rob was mentioning earlier about identifying investors in California. This is an important way for you to generate business. Corporate relo, I just want to go back and touch on what Mike said. Most of you think, when you think relocation, you think the companies that charge you 40 to plus up percent. There are a lot of organizations out there that need relocation help who don't have an established corporate relo department. So, for example, hospitals, universities, and sports organizations. Can you find out who the HR director is there and help make that person's job easier?
That's a great little way just to keep your face in front of them and keep them educated.
Absolutely, Sam.
Offering home tours through your Chamber of Commerce is worth its weight in gold, because a lot of people, they don't know if they're coming there. The first place they contact is a Chamber of Commerce. If you're willing to do a home tour with them, that just opens doors for you.
Absolutely. All right, did I get us there before the end? Oh, we got 3 minutes to spare.
Well, I got a quick one for you.
Oh yeah, definitely the military. And that's another one that, Buddy,
Over there.
there was a hand for a question? I'm gonna face you guys now.
Just one more area. I mean, we do a lot of referrals here, state to state, right? 10% of your database is going to end up buying a house in another country. And there's a whole global network out there through NAR, as well as CRS. We had 50 Spaniards attending this convention here. So I would really highly encourage you all guys to get to know how to refer out, because you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, we advertised 8. I told you we were gonna double it. There are way more sources of business and we could cover in an hour, right? What questions do you have about the ones that we did cover? By the way, is Keishan in here? Guam, if anybody's got an international referral for Guam, I just met this guy, he's fantastic. Question?
For the attorneys and both the divorce attorneys, family law, and also the trust attorneys, do you have a good number of attorney list? Like, do you keep 50, 75, 200 attorneys that you use as your common sphere?
Can you repeat, Amy?
Do you have a certain number of attorneys you focus on farming? Eric?
Yeah, I keep 50 divorce attorneys.
We don't have that many
and 50
attorneys.
probate attorneys, and I don't call all of them personally. They all get drip, but I have phone call, lunch relationships with about 6 of each.
So that's Metro Denver.
That's within Metro Denver, and obviously, I mean, we have a bottomless pit of attorneys. There's no end.
Well, let me share this. He's not here, but there's a CRS by the name of Greg Taylor, who Mike knows. He decided to start doing attorneys, and we came up with a mail, call, handwritten note campaign for him. He dropped it to 400 attorneys, and he, with the first mailing, had too many face-to-face lunch appointments.
Wow.
He could not keep up. So your number, to answer your question, needs to be, what do you find manageable? Because you open the door, you have to be able to take care of those people like you would the clients themselves. Okay? Another question?
Amy, can I leave them with something?
Sure.
In the old days, when I'm saying old days, 80s, 90s, you get by with 2 or 3 lead sources. You gotta have 10. Because something's gonna dry up, something's gonna change legal-wise, or whatever. My list of 10 is Spear, past clients, web leads, church, new homes, CPA and attorneys are together, land, agent referral, personal referrals together, multifamily, and relocation. Okay, and here's something, if you work the rural areas I talk about, go after the land, because land is getting expensive, and once you become an expert in that, that will lead you into something else.
Mike, who's building in your area right now? Who's eating up the land?
Who's eating up the land?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got 4 investors there. I mean, I sold a $18,000 lot to this young gal for a friend of ours. She turned me on to the brother, which ended up being a $4.5 million multifamily sale, which I double dipped and everything like that. But you see, in northern Kentucky, we're not in horse country yet, but we're going into, okay? And one of the things, when you get into horse country, prices jack up. And I'm trying to get myself into those areas right now, because your main investors are not getting into the multifamily, they're not getting into the single family rentals and things. They're wanting to get into land because it's a quicker turn. And you know, if you got your state and you're in the rural areas, I would bet you the interstate exits are all by the same person.
All right, one more question. Yes?
The HomeBot and the HomeBeat.
HomeBeat versus HomeBot. So, David, you use HomeBeat.
Yeah, I looked at both of them, studied them both. The thing I don't like about HomeBot is it tells you every month the value of your house is X. If this month you open up the email and your price dropped 20 grand. Next month you open it up, it went up 2 grand. It's a computer, it's not gonna be that accurate, so why do I want my customer to get discouraged by an email I send them that their value went down? HomeBeat sends them an email showing the sales within a half mile of their house, so they've got the information on the homes that sold. They can look at those and say, that one's like mine, that one's like mine, that one's bigger, smaller, whatever. But I'm not telling them month to month their value went up or down. I'm showing the information so they can make a decision and call me for more explanation.
Mike.
Every listing you go out on, before you go out, you're doing your research. First place you go is Zillow. Second, Redfin. Third, Realtor.com. Fourth, Homes.com. And you do a copy and paste on that and take that out. Most likely they're going to look at it, but it will give you a great place to know where you need to start. In my marketplace, and I can only speak for mine, Zillow is 7 to 10% low. Okay, so if somebody calls me out of the blue and I don't know anything about their place yet, I could go to that address and look on Zillow and it says 300. It's probably a 325, 350 then. I know where to search.
The thing about doing that is you don't want to do it very far in advance of your appointment, because you know if you go on Zillow and you punch in an address, Zillow thinks you're looking at selling, and guess what? They're going to sell that lead. So don't do it very far in advance of your appointment, because you're going to create your own competition. But that's what the home seller is going to look at, and you want to know what's in their mind. So just be cautious on the timing of doing that.
Yeah, I've had that happen by doing it on my rentals, and now I stopped doing it, and I'm only using RPR, which we all pay for, which is kind of like all of those on steroids, and it's got a range. That's the nice part about it. So it doesn't just say 500,000, it'll say 469 to 538 or something like that.
If you haven't gotten on RPR, the data richness of the reports they're generating is astounding.
But
you can talk to Neil Oates about that, because I heard him talk about it this morning. Neil, wave your hand. All right, is everybody walking out of here with at least one action item?
Yeah.
Did you put a date on it when you're gonna get it done? Do that right now. Do not stand up out of your chair until you put a date on it. Thank you so much for spending the hour. We hope that you got your value.
Now we're going to take their picture.